As plans for a rebellion began to leak out, rumors raced through the region that Bar Kokhba was the messianic leader foretold in the Bible, who would lead the Jewish people to freedom.
His name meant star, and he claimed to be a luminary who had come down to them from heaven and was magically enlightening those who were in misery.
Simeon Bar Kokhba, as we now know his name to have really been, is called Bar Kokhba, son of a star, because there was a prophecy in the Bible that spoke of a star as a symbolic name for a messianic figure. Now this fellow Bar Kokhba was a tremendous military leader who between 132 to 5 almost kicked the Romans out of Judea, and in fact caused many, many Roman soldiers to be killed in the prolonged battles of the revolt that he had brought into being. But the key point to realize is that the Bar Kokhba revolt was a messianic revolt in which people entered into the revolt believing firmly that the Messiah would come if they would be victorious.
Bar Kokhba's charismatic leadership appealed to not just peasants and craftsmen, but also scholars and sages. Their fervor was stoked by certain prophecies in the Bible, which they believed said this was the precise moment in history God had chosen for the temple to be rebuilt.
Just as the first temple at one point lay in ruins and was rebuilt, so too will the second temple. And they were, in their minds, God's agents. They were going to defeat the Romans. And the third temple was going to descend from the sky like a prefab, completely built right on that same spot. And that was, in a sense, its messianic mission, that they were doing God's will to throw off the evil empire. That's what God wanted.
In 132 AD, the most prominent rabbi in Judea publicly declared that Bar Kokhba was indeed the Messiah. The ranks of the rebels swelled even more. With hundreds of thousands now ready to follow him, Bar Kokhba nevertheless remained patient. In order to lull Hadrian and his legions into a false sense of security, he counseled his followers to pretend to be happy and peaceful.
So long indeed as Hadrian was close by in Egypt, the Jews remained quiet. Except that they made the weapons which the Romans demanded of them as tribute of such poor quality that the Romans rejected them. By this ruse, they were able to have use of these weapons themselves.
In a strategic masterstroke, Bar Kokhba bided his time until Hadrian was well on his way back to Rome. Then, suddenly, he launched the revolt. In the early days of the rebellion, the rebels inflicted tens of thousands of casualties on the Romans.
In the ancient world, Jews were not known as bookish and prayerful and pious. They were known as ruthless and ferocious fighters. They were highly prized as mercenary soldiers, and they showed in the uprising against Rome exactly how effective they were on the field of battle.
The stunning success of the rebels forced the Romans to withdraw from the region. Bar Kokhba then declared Judea to be an independent kingdom.